this is Kirk Hilliard.
This is Rusty Bird. It's the Kirk and Bird Show, and we are continuing our preview of high school football in the state of Virginia. And we're trying to focus there on Fairfax County. And we've got one of the best programs in the area. We've got with us Centreville head football coach Jon Shields. Thanks for joining the show, Coach.
I appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for doing this and having me on.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
We are hoping that we want to bring more Fairfax County. I'm from Loudoun County. He's from Prince William. We know a ton of 757 people, but we also know that Centreville is one of the best programs in the state, not just the region. So we'd ask people to just take a minute and subscribe to us on YouTube. We're on all the social media platforms. Follow us on Twitter, Players. We're putting good stuff out there. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. And then if you ever want to listen to us, we have some great things like a preview for the whole state, all classes, all over the state. Roanoke, Southwestern Virginia, Richmond, Hampton Roads, with Matt Hatfield of VA Preps, Danny Lewis of VA Preps, Larry Rabama of the Virginian Pilot. You can check that out if you want to listen to it at the gym or driving to work. Audible, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts. So please help us out. Centreville, we're going to be talking more about you, that Concord district. All right, Rusty.
Yeah, so Coach, let's first go ahead on and talk a little bit about last year, or even your last 2 years, since it's your first time on the show. Tell us, we talked about this with Coach Doc, that your district, okay, the Concord is probably top to bottom, and the Patriot, the toughest districts in the state. And I'm saying that not just Class 6, but Class 5, Class 4. When you look at how successful and the talent that's coming out of these schools, like your schedule just in your district is murderer's row. But tell us a little bit about last year, because the last 2 years, if I'm not mistaken, you've only lost 3 games?
Yeah, so the last 2 years, if you combine them, we're 20-6, and Madison is the top dog right now, and we've lost to them both years in the regional championship, which is, I guess, maybe a state quarter, right? And then you play the state semifinal and then the final, which has been at ODU the last 2 years. But so that's been good, and we've been successful. But
and then you also are playing Stonebridge.
Yeah, so we played Stonebridge. Yeah, Mickey and I are good friends. See if he watches this, right? But he says I'm dodging the smoke, so instead we picked up Mountain View this year out of Fredericksburg. So
okay.
But no, he obviously makes, those guys are amazing. We even played them when I was at Westfield. So it's the last 2 years have been good. Talented, kids, good play, all that type of stuff. So they've done well. We just got to that regional championship game, and unfortunately, we don't like to use the L word, so we just said we ran out of time.
Okay, all right, I hear you. Now, I will tell you, I did pick you guys to beat Madison, so I'm not mad. I'm just, oh man, but tell us a little bit about, so for this year, what can we expect? What will this coming year bring in terms of your offense, defense, and even special teams? I know you've had a special running back over the last couple of years, but how's your offense going to look this year?
Yeah, and he's off at Villanova. We have a D lineman at William and Mary. We have a couple, one at W&L, a couple at CNU, Randolph, so there's guys everywhere that had really helped us obviously be successful. But we got the tight end at St. Francis, so there's guys everywhere. They're hard to replace, right? So for the most part, right, you're getting in a public school to 6A, and we're a big area in Centreville and Clifton, and we're getting what the neighborhood has given us, and we're going to be young but also inexperienced, right? So some of those seniors, which this isn't a big senior class, we had a big one last year, we had 36, and we're roughly 15 or 16 this year. So it's easy math, right? You're losing 20 seniors, so it's going to be a little bit different. And those seniors didn't have a ton of reps on Friday night, so. And that's really on both sides of the ball. So to say, hey, what are you going to do on offense and defense? How's it going to look? It should look similar. Meaning, it's going to be, we had some success with some teams the last couple of years, but it's going to be tougher sledding this year. I'm not pulling the Lou Holtz. I'm not doing the possum type thing. It is really going to be, it's going to be hard. It's just going to be, it's just where we are, right? We can run. We just haven't been able to push the weight around, right? We're not 2 years older than a lot of these other programs that have the juniors and seniors and that type of stuff. But we'll be there. It's just, we're gonna fight. I know that. I know they will fight. So it's gonna be a little bit different, right? It's gonna be, when you graduate that many players that had that type of impact that are playing at all three levels, from D3, D2, to Division I, a couple of kids going to prep school. It's just going to be hard to replace that at the public school setting.
And I know you're the head coach, but are you also a coordinator?
This year I've stepped. I guess it depends on who you ask, right? If you ask the coordinators, they're like, "Man, I thought you weren't coordinating." But I'm trying to take a general manager's role, try to keep my philosophy of coaching coaches and making sure we're running and well oiled in the right direction, right, and doing all those things. So I have taken a backseat a little bit to that, but I just bragging on my guys. I mean, in the administration, we have 10 full-time varsity, JV and varsity coaches, and 8 of us are teachers, and 8 of us are in the building.
Okay, yeah, I was going to ask that. That's great.
So if you look at that not only for our athletic director and our principal, some of the guys were holdovers from the previous head coach, and but I mean, it's just great men that have various backgrounds, and most of them are teachers, and then the 2 other guys that aren't are successful, businessmen in the community and been in our local areas, SYA, for the youth, programs, and came up to our freshman program. So, and we're proud of that. We have 6 freshman coaches, and 4 of them are teachers and in the building. So, when you look at it as a program, anyway, it's I'm excited about the staff, excited about the kids. We just, we're gonna go through some growing pains.
So, Coach, with the shift, and you've got a younger team, you had a great running back going to Villanova,
right?
Very underrated. That's a great place to go to school, man. Will you shift your offense some? Are you running a spread, and will you pass more? Do you have more talent? Or are you gonna on the edges? What will you? I mean, great running back, and will anything change in your offense?
Yeah, that's a great question. We will. We have to be a little bit more spread. Centreville, the community itself, and what we get. We do have some good-looking big kids, but in today's world, even the big kids, they want to be a quarterback or wide out, right, or something like that, or someone's a tight end, But we're more. Our school lends itself a little bit more to being now not so much a 21 person, 2 backs, 1 tight. We're not really that. We're even a 12 personnel team. We're going to be an 11 personnel, probably 10. Spread you out, try to get you that way. RPO you, do that stuff. Really kind of that is. For me, I kind of grew up on the 2-back set and those types of things. And I'm really a defensive guy by trade. So you have that Blacksburg. I'm a Hokie. I graduated. I played for Coach Beamer, and then I was a GA under Coach Foster. So
what years, if you don't mind me asking, what years were you there?
I was there. I had to go to the 13th grade. I'm a Fork Union graduate. I had to go to Fork for a year, and then I was there from 91, and my last football season was 94. So I graduated May of 95.
You were there with my brother.
You were,
Melendez. Melendez is your brother?
That's my little brother.
I'm the
better football player.
Yeah, Dr. Bird.
Yeah.
Coach, I recognize you now from the programs back in the day. That's hilarious.
I had hair. I
got to get your program picture.
Get the 93, 94, 92 as well. But yeah, those guys. Yeah, so so when I with Coach Foster, and then I was a GA at Duke, so I got some secondary experience with another great one, in Bob Trott, who's since gone out of the business. But so defense is kind of where I cut my teeth and kind of but I know what causes defense problems. But we have such a good running back, right? Why are we going to take in? It's high school football. At the end of the day, you got to stop the run, and you got to run the football. So regardless of how you get to it in spread or whatever you want to do, I know everyone's throwing, but if you have a good running back like that, I'm not talking about the NFL, right, where the hot topic is the running backs and not getting paid and those types of things. But a quarterback's best friend, and certainly in high school, is a running back. And Isaiah, it was going to be difficult to take the ball out of his hand. We're just different, with all those guys graduating and leaving. And you have to adapt, right? You have to adapt or you die. And so we're adapting and we're changing, and new for us, and I'm excited. So we'll see how it goes, right? we go a bunch of 3 and out, I don't know how excited in the spread I'll be, but yes, so.
Any new players, or you want to talk about some of your key components on your offense and your defense? And we don't want to leave out special teams, because you being a Hokie, that can change a game.
Oh yeah,
kicking, punting, return. But who are some of the players that you'd like to talk about on your offense and defense?
Yeah, I don't want to get in trouble though, Kirk. You know what I'm saying? I bring up somebody and then a dad says that I didn't bring up their kid. And but I will talk about this. Our kicking game, both those guys. Here's the best way I can describe this. There's a lot of competition in a lot of spots. We're not, as deep as we've been, but I tell you, the mother of all motivators is competition, right? So we have good competition from the quarterback position, the wide receiver, because they're also young, right? So they don't know what they don't know. Offensive line is there too. The defensive line kind of going through, it's been a tough couple of days because it's been hot, right? The last couple of days. So you kind of see where we're going, and when we go fast and we're spread. And so, some of these guys will play well, some of these guys won't. It's just been kind of good for us. So I think the best way to say is there's competition everywhere, even down to the kickers, to the point where we have been, we kind of have 2 special teams coordinators. One kicked at West Virginia for 1 year, walked on to the bio teacher for us. And then the other one played for Mike Clark at Bridgewater. And Mike Clark's a Hokie. Mike Clark was the DC when I was a player before Melendez. He was his coach. And then Bud was his position coach. But anyway, so without saying play, I just think there's a lot of competition across the board. It's going to be interesting. We scrimmage a really good Patriot team tomorrow or Thursday night, and we scrimmage Robinson, and they like to run the ball, right? So defensively, kind of find out some things. So, and then we open up with Alexandria City, and they can, they can always run, and they're physical too. So, best way I can put it as far as how we're looking at where we are is just competition at all positions. I'm excited about a lot of guys.
Okay,
Coach, I might have to check y'all out. You're playing Patriot. It's a scrimmage, but
right. Yeah,
that's a good one. That's a good
one. They can flat play. So, it's at our place Thursday night at 7. It's a game, and light type stuff. That fourth quarter might be whatever, but it's gonna be we'll be live, tackle to the ground, as I tell you.
Oh, good stuff.
What night did you say? It's 7?
Thursday. It's this Thursday.
Yeah. It's this Thursday. Yeah. This Thursday.
So we have a question that we're going to kind of hold about what makes a successful season, but we would like to learn a little bit more about you, personally. Just ask you a few questions. So, where'd you grow up again, Coach?
So I'm a beach guy by trade. My dad was in the Navy, and I would have gone to Kempsville High School. But I left and moved. A little bit of a culture shock. I moved to a suburb of Northeast Philly. And so my dad was stationed at an aviation supply office in Northeast Philly. So I just went to high school outside of middle to 7th grade on, and then I came back in postgraduate PG'd a year from 90 to 91 at Fork Union.
Y'all had some talent at Fork Union. My brother says
Druckenmiller. You were there with
Druckenmiller was my roommate.
Well,
Tyrone, may he rest in peace. So Tyrone was there, Kendall, me. Yeah, there's a lot of guys that played at Virginia and Virginia Tech. But Druck was my roommate at Fork Union, and at Chris Malone was there. All those guys, we were all together. Druck was my roommate in college as well. So
were you Bucks County?
I'm sorry? Yeah, I went to Council Rock High School in Bucks County. Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
What were you in, like Newtown Square? Or?
It's Newtown. Yeah, Newtown Square always kind of gets Newtown on the western side of Philly.
That's a big place.
Newtown is just above. It's Trenton. If you go to Trenton, New Jersey, and go across to Delaware, that's where I grew up. That's where Newtown is. It's right there. And I PG'd a year at FUMA, and then went to Tech, and kind of started from there.
Right. My brother always talks about all the great athletes that were there. He wishes he had done it. He said somebody said something to him coming out of high school, but he was like, what is this? I don't even know. And then he looks back, he's like, oh man, I wish I had gone there. And he wished he wanted to be redshirted, but Beamer wouldn't redshirt him.
Yeah, well, he was playing on special teams, and Coach Beamer was trying to figure it out a little bit when Melendez came into school with Jerome Preston and all those guys. Those guys and PJ Preston. Those guys were awesome. Yeah. They set the tone. Your brother number 44 is a great linebacker and tough hombre. So
yeah. The only thing is he's a little upset because it was after his senior year when they, weren't really that good. I think they won a couple games, tie or whatever. Yep. And they threatened Beamer. They were like, either you go or your assistants, and bring it in. And from the next year on, it was like 25 years straight bowl games. He's like, oh.
Yeah, so it was tough for Melendez and those guys. They were 2-8-1 his senior year.
Yeah.
People forget about that. Coach was on his way out. And a guy that doesn't get enough credit that started even with Coach Foster is Phil Almation. So Coach Almation started and changed everything. And then Gary Tranquil came in. Well, Bustle was the OC and then went to South Carolina my junior year. And then my senior year, Tranquil came in, and he had been at Navy and been all kinds of places. Because, he had a lot of good coaches come through there.
Yeah.
And it just, they got on a run, right? And finally kind of got going in the Big East and didn't have to go to Oklahoma every year, right. South Carolina and all over the place, and Florida State when Florida State wasn't.
Florida State and Orlando.
Right, in Orlando. Yeah, and playing like some Metro Conference or whatever, playing Louisville every year. Yeah. So I guess Coach, people. So anyway.
So you played in the Big East, right?
So I was in the Big East. Well, so I got there in 91, and I don't know if that was it kind of started to be our inaugural, maybe 92 when your brother was there.
I think his senior year, because they played like Miami.
Yeah, we played Miami, got kind of beat up down there. We were still playing East Carolina and all those guys in 92. Yep. So here's the hard part, and what got Coach in trouble, and then he had to, unfortunately, he had to probably let a lot of people go. We beat Temple and JMU that year. We tied NC State. So that's the 2-8-1 season. And but in 93, it got flipped. And then it's never until, unfortunately, a guy that I worked with went to Illinois State. Two of my boys I have three boys. They were born in Normal, Illinois. And I was at Illinois State with those guys for 4 years, Vice and all that. So that's a tough pill for me for what happened to him, and all that stuff. But anyway. So
yeah.
Part of the business, though. I mean,
but I replaced Pry as a GA, so Pry was on his way out to Western
Carolina.
Oh yeah. So I replaced him. So,
wow.
But yeah, with Coach Foster and those guys.
People do not understand how much of a commitment you have to be a high school head football coach. Now, a high school coach, period. But the players think it's a lot, but they're there, but then they go home. But you all are planning. It's the stuff that they never see. So whether it's game plan, preparing practice, getting equipment, getting the field
administrative,
a
lot of non-football stuff.
So that's what I've just decided. And again, you guys, and this is awesome that you're doing this. And maybe I don't have a plug that I have anything, but just these young coaches, if anybody's listening, hang in there, get a degree in teaching, try your best to get in a building somewhere, those types of things. And be a teacher, because I don't know what these are, Gen Z, millennials, whatever, the work, they're just not, I don't think I'm very old, be 52 here soon. The staff varies. Some of those guys are now pushing 30, got some good guys there. And then some guys in the mid-range 30, and then a couple guys in their 40s. But you don't see a lot of grinders coming up in their 20s, that maybe GA'd somewhere. You have an ODU shirt on and a black shirt. Obviously, those two places maybe. William and Mary, I don't really care, but get into education and do it, right?
Yeah.
The grind in football is real. It's really hard. I love teaching. I teach 10th grade. I'm not that guy that's going to get out of the classroom and be a head coach, because you need to know. I'm boots on the ground. You need to know what the boys are up to.
Yeah.
You're typically dealing. That's what you deal with, right? So, I still enjoy the teaching part and the coaching. You are worn out when you get home, and we just had a practice, so we got huddle. And so what I learned I spent almost 11 senior seasons in college and 1 year in the CFL in Montreal. And you just film everything, right? And you have film on everything. And I didn't want our kids, and thank God for field turf, because we can now film out of the stadium, out of the press box. So the kids see everything, and so you struck a nerve there for real, like the grind in football.
Yeah.
High school football is harder than any college assistant I ever was. You could throw, get a dive Mountain Dew or Mountain Dew, throw a dip in, put your feet up and watch 1st and 10. You know what I mean? You could do all that stuff and then have meetings later. And the recruiting game has changed. But what I'm saying is, when you're in high school, you're teaching and coaching, and there's a lot more to it as well.
Bro, it's not like Florida or Texas, where all you do is coach and make 6 figures. But no,
Virginia's
you
not going to
guys,
allow that. Not Northern
no,
Virginia either.
no.
So.
But my son, who played at Colgan and Bishop Ireton, he's a freshman this year at Alvernia. But
Nice.
Yeah, he's going to be playing football there, but that's what he wants to do. He wants to be a physical education teacher, and he wants to coach track and football. My parents were both coaches and physical education teachers for 35 years, and so he wants to be like his grandparents. And it's funny, he did a internship. He graduated from Colgan, but he did an internship at the middle school. He went to Benton, right around the corner,
right.
Playing in the PE department for his former coach, and people just kept saying, "Man, we appreciate you coming back and doing it, because you don't know how much, we need young men to come in and be, and you know what? He kind of thought he wanted to do it, but he loved it. He did it was like a 4-week internship, and he was so excited after he finished that. So
yeah, that's awesome. And my son is he's at ODU. I have a son that's
oh, cool.
So he's gonna be a PE teacher and a coach and that type of stuff. So
good stuff.
Trying to get him not to want to be a college coach, but
that's
a high school coach, and then like you mentioned, Texas and Georgia and South Carolina, where they will pay you well, and then you can also teach and maybe be a coordinator and do that type of stuff. So yeah, he'll be an ODU graduate here soon. So
oh man, that'll be great. That's great.
Yeah,
great.
Cool.
I was just going to say, Coach, one of the things I think of with Centreville for some reason is maybe you can pull some Centreville ties. We would love to have Lindsay Zarniak on. That's Centreville.
Yeah, she's a little before my time. I think everybody would probably try to get Lindsay Zarniak on. You're not the only one, man.
This is big, though. I met her. My daughter's 24. I met her when my daughter was like 3 or 4.
Right.
So that would be 2001, 2, or 3.
Right.
She was just starting. Nobody knew who she was. The Redskins commanders were having their training camp there, and I was walking in with another guy and his young daughter. She's, we were walking out, and she stopped us, say, "Hey, how'd they look?" and all that. It's just the nicest person in the world. I'm a big fan of hers.
Yeah,
and I think of Centreville. So we let Lindsay.
Maybe you guys
need on this show anytime.
The podcast keeps going. You guys need to get her on.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, she's a famous
on purpose.
I guess you can put it out there. Plus, McVay's wife is a Centreville. Sean McVay, the head coach of the Rams, his wife's a Centreville.
Oh wow.
Guy.
Okay.
I was just asking about Dr. Bird. Is he still at Norfolk State, or where is he?
Yeah. Yep. He's at Norfolk State. Cool. And I think he's going back to now that his oldest daughter she's at ODU playing tennis.
Okay, cool. Nice.
Yeah, and he's got another daughter who's a rising 11th grader, great track athlete, and then his baby boy Blake is an 8th grader, and he's a tremendous baseball player. Cool. He's going to play some football and basketball too, but I think baseball is going to be his thing.
But in that area, baseball is legit. So
yeah. So, but he's doing very well. I'll let him know.
I'll
send him this episode.
I was a freshman when he was his senior.
His last year was 92. He graduated.
Yeah, so his last year was 92. So I was a freshman in 91. He graduated in 93. Yeah, so I was with him for 2 years. Those older guys were really cool though. Will Fuhrer, Eugene Chung, like all those guys that were a little bit older than Melendez. And Melendez was good, and Rusty Pendleton and all that. They were
Rusty. That's my man.
They were good to the younger kids.
What position did you play, Coach?
So I went I wasn't good enough. You know where I should have gone? I broke my leg at Fork Union, and I thought I was going to go to Richmond or maybe go back home to you can get through Fork Union and get through, but it changed my life. I wouldn't have had my roommate anyway. So I went as a quarterback. I broke my leg, went as a quarterback.
Wow.
Everybody's got a story, right? Walked on, but after my second year, ended up playing for Coach Beamer on special teams. I got moved to wide receiver. Bustle was like, you either transferring, and that wasn't that big back then, right? And JMU wasn't as good as who they were, and I just like Tech, and Blacksburg to me just is everything, right? So and I didn't want to leave, and so I switched positions, and then I lettered. I just wasn't good enough, but I lettered and earned my scholarship on special teams. So I lettered 93 and 94.
Okay.
So I have an Independence Bowl ring and a Gator Bowl ring, and then I was a PA for the Music City, the inaugural Music City Bowl when we beat the crap out of Sean Alexander in Alabama.
I remember that.
So so. I had a great career, got a degree in education. And, again, FUMA set me up for it. Coach Schumann got me there, and I'd have never, I met my my wife to my brother-in-law at that time, we were sweetmates, who went to Annandale, played football for Dick Adams and all those guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
what's your brother-in-law's name?
Nash, Nash, Joe Nash.
Okay. All right.
So, but he played with Kevin Williams, who was a tight end, and Ray Crittenden. Ray Crittenden was a little bit older than us.
Yeah, Ray. Yeah.
Well, Ray, I think Ray was there when I was there.
Yeah.
Soccer player.
Ray's a great
soccer player
athlete.
first. Yeah.
Great athlete.
When did you graduate, Kirk? When did you graduate from
91. 87 or 91.
87 to 91. So we at least
I wasn't on a football scholarship, so I had to get out of there.
yeah, that's up there because my oldest son is at ODU and my middle son is at Tech. And then my youngest is trying to be a quarterback there. He's a 10th grader. So just kind of funny. What a small world. You guys wearing those shirts.
Yeah.
But
wow.
You know, so
well, it always is.
Yeah, absolutely crazy, right?
So, yeah. Well, look, man, I'm definitely gonna have to come out there and check you out, Coach.
All right.
Shake your hand and stand on the sideline like I've been.
That's what's up. Come on.
Yeah.
Yes, come on.
Yeah.
All right.
So thanks again. Hey, this has been great. A very pleasant surprise to know we've crossed and know a lot of the same people.
Absolutely.
And I've been a fan of yours before you knew it, you know, at Westfield with Jeremiah and those teams there. So, but yeah, so this has been great.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
If there's anything you want to say to wrap up with, here's your chance.
No, I mean, again, this is so for you guys to do this, and you were dead on when you said no newspapers and all that stuff. Although my wife subscribes to Virginia Pilot, following ODU and that type of stuff.
Me too.
She's a beach girl and all that type of stuff. But no, the more you can do for Northern Virginia, I think in many ways. And you talk about the Concord. Going back, my dates might be off a little bit, but if you look at South County sneaking in there a little bit, and I spent 4 years at South County. I got there the second year. Again, the last year in college, my little stint at VMI. But you know, for someone to come back into Fairfax County, I think, you know, everybody hides, oh, we're disrespected, blah, blah. It's not that. It's just, you know, the beach gets so much of the pub and it really is the Oscar Smith. But now look at what LJ's doing at Highland Springs. So Richmond's kind of coming on and Overton, what Overton's doing at Freedom, you can't deny that. So, but what has come out of Northern Virginia from this side, right? Kind of the middle from, you know, Loudoun doesn't have any D6 schools. Well, they did with Champ, and now they're not D6. But for us, it's Fairfax County, right? And not only that, now break it down to the Concord. And you've had anywhere from Oakton, 08, 09, right? To Westfield for those years, to South County mixed in there. Now Madison. I mean, you think about how hard it is. You mentioned the Patriot. The winner really comes out of the Patriot or the Concord, and that's what's been represented. We haven't always won the state championships the last couple of years, right? But it's been well represented from the Concord, and it's Centreville's been part of it. So
absolutely,
you know, so
it's great that you brought that up because Rusty and I will play both sides. Being from the 757, that mystique, Lawrence Taylor, Percy Harvin, Michael, on and on and on. They're top heavy, and it's a working class area, military, blue collar. You know, football may be a little bit more important, but we've been up here for 32 years. And on the flip side, this is a bunch of rich kids. They're not tough or whatever. That, and it's like, hold on, man. Let me tell you who's come from Northern Virginia. Right? And the type of players that we have up here, they think it's Beverly Hills or Bel Air, and you know, frankly, it's not that way. But we play both sides of it. You know, sometimes folks say stuff up here, but you know, at the same time, I'm, you know, the quality up here. I mean, I can tell you, Loudoun County football is better than the Peninsula District. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at top to bottom, those teams, you know. I do think the Oscar Smiths and those guys, and I've known a lot of those coaches, and then being at Western and coaching against them in those state championships, you know, I think top to bottom, there are really good teams in Northern Virginia, and I fight the stereotype in recruiting. You know, as a head coach, I'm a fighter that way, and I'm like, I don't understand. You know, you look at some of these kids and then you look at our kids and they're like, well, I don't know, you know, maybe he's a walk on, maybe. I'm like, well, hold on. Like, how, like, you know, you like this kid, let's compare him to a kid at the beach, you know, like, let's do this, let's do that. And I just think there is a stigma, stereotype, whatever you want to say, that kind of what you hit on. And not real tough, not real physical, wealthy, and a lot of that, I mean, that is just, yes, there's that, but we also can play good football across the board.
Oh, yeah.
From Alexandria out to Loudon and all that stuff. So
Chris Jones at Fairfax is one of the best looking linebackers in 10, 15 years. Jonathan Allen.
Yeah.
It's probably.
But he actually started at Western Branch.
I know, but the thing is,
I'm saying like Deshaun Hand. It's been a lot of really great players.
No, there's a ton. I'm just joking. Someone said that to me because we were talking. He started at the beach. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, I knew that. And by the way,
I'm going to take credit for it if he's.
We booked Western Branch.
Anytime in the 757, I'm taking credit for it. Coach, you're going to be on my 757 roster when I want to talk smack. Because you were there. Who else? Actually, David Robinson. He graduated from OP,
right?
But he went to Green Run.
J.R. Reed and DJ Dozier. DJ Dozier was the biggest guy. So J.R. Reed, obviously basketball. You got Bubba Chuck from Bethel.
Yep, he went to my high school.
So
we played Kempsville. We used to go over there, and I played against. I just missed DJ Dozier, but I played against Keith McMeans.
Oh, Keith McMeans, another baller. Yeah,
but man, he was a beast. Yeah, but look, we could do this all day, Coach. That's why we got to get you back.
Y'all got to go. Y'all got to go. So.
Coach Shields, you should check this out. You'll love it. Honestly, I like it. Episode 69, we have a talk about the best high school football players in the history of Virginia.
Okay.
Rusty did not put Allen Iverson in it. That was basketball in his top 5. But it's on there. And we do a top 5, second, third, fourth, 5th team.
And the caveat with ours is a little different. It's not based on your college or pro career. And I say that because Lawrence
based on high school.
Just high school. So Lawrence Taylor, he only had like 2 offers coming out.
Go to Richmond.
But Ronald Curry.
Yeah, so Ronald Curry, if you're going by that, well, the hell he did both basketball and football, right? Ronald Curry's got to be up there.
Marvin, Kirby,
Michael Vick. I mean, Vic was, Vic was a redshirt freshman. It's actually pretty funny. Coach Cav, who's a mentor of mine, Jim Cavanaugh, recruited him, and Tommy Riemann said, "You better redshirt him no matter what." And we were thin. We were playing a kid out of Marshall, Nick Sorensen, who's now in the NFL.
Oh yeah,
I remember. Yeah, Vic wanted to burn the shirt.
He wanted to burn it, and Coach Riemann.
Good move.
I'm sure at some point told Coach Cav, and so they held on to it, and he got redshirted. And
Riemann is coaching.
Denby. Is it? Yeah, Denby. Yeah.
Marcus Michael.
Yeah. Oh, Marcus.
You played 1 year with Marcus, right? So, he's one of my best friends.
Marcus Michael. What a great receiver, turn man. He was the man. He was the man. So those guys like Tony Kennedy, I actually coached with him. Tony
real well.
Tony's been on the show a few times.
Yeah, out of Bladensburg. Yeah, him and Trenton Bass. Trenton was a teammate, but Tony was the famous one. He coached with us in South County. But Marcus Michael, all those guys. Oh my God, who's the receiver? Bo was
Bo Campbell.
Bo Campbell. Was he from the beach?
Yep.
Yeah. Bayside.
Yeah, Bayside.
Also,
Lawrence Lewis was from Kickingham, and Mike Williams. Yep. All those guys are my age. They're in the '91 class. They were all. I think who else?
What's his name's brother was a receiver there? Is it Michael Johnson? His brother played quarterback at JMU. He went to Kickingham. What was the receiver?
Yeah, that's Mike Williams. Eric Williams was the one. Eric went to Kickingham.
Raphael Williams.
No, Raphael was the kid from West Virginia. Raphael was a running back, linebacker. He was a classmate of mine. Michael was with me, and then Steve Sanders went to Green Run. Scorch, we called him. Yeah, he went to Green Run, and Antonio Freeman. So when I got to move to receiver, it was fun. It was a good time because the real Will Ferrell, who unfortunately Eddie Famous, who the training room's named after his dad. But Buttons, who was Antonio Freeman and Mike Williams and all those guys, they should all get some pub because they really, they did a lot in the linemen. I mean, there was just a lot of change, and a lot of it came from. And Lawrence Lewis was a big deal, and then of course, Cornell Brown, but Cornell was a lynch.
Oh yeah. My brother, we've had Brian Steele on the show too.
No, B Steele, he's from
and Cole.
Brian was from Richmond.
Coach. Thank you. This is great.
I appreciate it. All right, man. I appreciate you guys. For real, keep pushing Northern Virginia. Like I really, This is awesome, and let's keep doing it. Okay.
No doubt, no doubt.
I appreciate you guys. Have a great night.
My new best friend, Coach Jon Shields, and my co-host, Kirk Gilliard.
What's up?
This has been the Kirk and Bird Show. We are out.
See you guys.